Welcome to A Friday Reads, where I talk about what I read, what I'm reading, what I hope to get to next, and my world is the I'm in a room and the world's on fire and everything's fine. That is me. If you didn't know, last week I had the flu, which wasn't great, and I think I have a cold again. Also not great. But regardless, that's not even the worst of my problems. So we're going to escape into a lovely, bookish, chatty video because this is a nice, happy place. But I didn't realize how prevalent I would need those escape book recommendations that you guys have been putting on my Tuesday video, which I really appreciate. Probably going to tap a few of those because everything's really rough. Also, in that vein, I usually try to respond to comments within 48 hours. That's just what I've been trying to do ever since I've been on YouTube, because otherwise things pile up. And I've been bad at engaging with things that I should do this week because of mental health. So I apologize. I read everything as they come in, always. Like, the minute you post a comment, I read it. I just don't want to heart it because then it moves it away from a place and then I can't find it to reply, and it's a whole mess. But just know, I always love all the comments I'm given. I literally have one of the best comment sections on YouTube. Like, truly, that's just a fact. So, that preamble out of the way, we're going to talk about books. We're going to talk about a thing I'm crafting, whatever else comes to my mind by the end of this video. Let's get into it. The first thing I finished, I will not be talking to you about, but on Tuesday at noon, not my normal time, at noon, there will be a video dropping, and you can see all the books that I've been reading since December and my thoughts on them. It should be an interesting video. I haven't filmed it yet. I'm going to film it after this one, but I like the idea I have for it now that I've read all of the project books that I needed to for that video. And I liked that book, which was good. It was a very good book. Now into what I've been working on. The other two books are also very long. The one I read that I can't tell you about was a long book. So I haven't finished anything yet, but that's okay. That doesn't really bother me because I'm actually really enjoying everything I'm reading. The first one we'll talk about is Towers of Midnight by Robert Jordan. I am this far. I've read this much. Audiobook, not with my eyeballs. And yeah, I'm liking it a lot, but it wasn't until I put the bookmark in the book that I realized I have read so much of this, and this scene on the cover, that if you've read the series, you know what it's going to be, but if you haven't read the series, it's just a pretty cover. It hasn't happened yet, and I'm very annoyed about it. Like, I don't know, I didn't realize how little anything has happened until I put the bookmark in the book, if that makes sense. Like, even with the percentage marker on Libby and everything like that, I just truly didn't realize how much I'd consumed without anything happening, which is, I guess, a mark in favor of the book, that I'm at least engaged. There's some character stuff that I really like that is happening with Rand. I do think Sanderson is overplaying some of Matt Coffin's traits. I say that as someone who's not even Matt Coffin's biggest fan, but like there was literally a point where I'm just like, can someone with the Kindle copy, like, Control F this phrase and tell me how many times Matt has said it? Because, like, I feel like it's been 100 times now. Like, it's gotten a little repetitive. And it's interesting because I think both Jordan and Sanderson are repetitive authors, and usually Sanderson's repetitive in a way that is okay for me. But I feel like this is where I notice when it doesn't work. And Sanderson has done a thing that even he admits in a blog post was very messy in this story in terms of the timeline. So this is not, like, the best crafted book. But in terms of Wheel of Time books, I'm still enjoying it more than most of them. And I am so close to the end. I mean, I still have to finish this book, and then I have to get to Memory of Light, but I'm so close to being able to see all of the Wheel of Time spoilers that ever exist. Yeah. So that's a thing I am reading. Hopefully I'll finish that fairly soon, because I've been listening to it while working on a craft that I'll show you. But the other book I'm reading that has been, like, 5-star energy, it's honestly always so surprising when a book like this becomes like 5-star energy, because I never know when it'll happen, and that is Girl, Woman, Other. This is not, like, my genre, right? This is literary fiction that won the Booker Prize in 2019, and I find it very accessible literary fiction. So if you're ever someone who's just like, I mean, it's a thick book, and maybe that's just not your, like, genre, I would say that this is definitely very approachable. It does play with form on the page, but the audiobook you wouldn't notice. It just doesn't have a lot of capitalization or punctuation, and sometimes the words are framed on the page in a way for emphasis. So in that way, it doesn't have really dense writing, it doesn't have over-the-top vocabulary or symbolism or metaphors. Like, it's honestly, its strength is its narrative framework, which is a little more unique and more literary in that there's no plot here. You don't read this for the plot. You read this to be with these characters, and there's so many vibrant, unique walks of life to experience in this work. So each chapter you will follow 2 to 4 Black women perspectives in England specifically, and many of them have different backgrounds, whether they're just born and raised in Britain, if they're first generation from Nigeria or the Caribbean. You have all of these perspectives. You have perspectives from the 60s, you have perspectives from present day. Each chapter is almost sort of its own self-contained generational story sometimes. It's hard to explain. Every chapter, the perspectives you're given will be linked in a more direct way, but even across the chapters, there are links between these women. Not in a plot important way, it's just like, oh, this person was mentioned in this person's story, and now I'm getting this person's backstory. You are just getting the backstories of a lot of these women. And I just love how it's written. I am engaged every time. Like, when I think something has 5-star energy, it usually has 1 or 2 things about it in addition to other factors, but there's always these nebulous things of, I just want to be reading this all the time. Or, when I'm reading this, the world falls away. And that's where this falls for me. It's like, when I'm reading this, I am so sucked in and immersed and with these people. And I really enjoy that. For perspective, I was saying my week's been really bad. So bad, like, normally I take a train to a bus to work and then a bus to the train home. I could walk to the train. It's like a 25-minute walk, so it's technically twice as long as taking the bus. And if the weather is good in the summer, sometimes I do that. I needed to walk to, like, get my anxiety under control, so I just walked. And I didn't even think I'd be able to read on the train home because my focus was so bad. But I picked this up, and I was able to read on the train ride home, which, like, that takes a special book. So I'm really enjoying this. I'm excited for our book club discussion next week, and I'm immersion reading it. The audiobook is wonderful. I think I would still enjoy it as much without the audiobook, but, like, I'm even listening to the audiobook slower than what I listen to audiobooks because I just love the cadence of the narrator. She also is able to, like, bring voices to these women that I wouldn't have been able to with my narrative voice. Like, I don't have Caribbean, Nigerian, or British accents in my head, so they would get a very flat, I think, interpretation, especially in the moments where we have some dialect that, like, I'm not exposed to. So I would have to do my best at figuring out how that would be pronounced in my head, but it comes so seamlessly with this narrator. This is wonderful. Only enrages me more that it had to share its prize. But this is just such a fantastic work of art. So those are some things, and then I'll briefly discuss Africa Risen. I'm now halfway through. Yeah, and I think there was, like, one story that I would for sure want to mention. Like, for the most part, we've had some very confusing stories in this last batch, like very non-linear or kind of the throw you into it world building, which can be really difficult. A Dream of Electric Mothers was really good, though. So that one was like, you have a world where when everyone dies, like, before they die, like, as you live, you put your consciousness into this computer, and then once you're dead, that's basically how you're, like, an ancestor, and then a council can use the information of this, like, hive mind of ancestors to solve problems. And it was exploring that idea, but also a very personal situation for the character. Really liked that. But I'm trying to find the one that I really liked that didn't work as well for Shannon and Kristen, but it worked so well for me. Housewarming for a Lion Goddess. Oh, I loved that story. It really focused in on this lion goddess who is conflicted by her past experience and her present experience and how she has commitment issues and what she's going to do with her current relationship, and she's processing all of this while making her housewarming party and all the food involved for that, and processing her feelings through cooking, which is just, like, incredibly cathartic to me. I don't know if any of you like to create things when you are needing to think or are stressed out of your mind or need to not think, but that's definitely a thing for me. And then there was one I really appreciated, but was so hard to read in so many ways, and that was, where is it? I know the name of it. Peeling Time, Deluxe Edition. Oof. That one's heavy. That one is, like, all the content warnings I could ever imagine. And it was written kind of like an outline of an album, a rap album maybe specifically, and it was really confusing and dark when it wasn't confusing. That was a time, but I really appreciate it. Like, that's the one where I'm like, you used the short story form in a very interesting way. I appreciate you. And let's see, I think that's where we're at. Oh, The Sugar Mill by Tobias S. Buckle. I think that's how you say his name. I'm unsure. But that was really good, and actually, I think I appreciated more than I thought I would because I'd been reading Open Veins of Latin America, which I haven't read since I last talked to you guys about this because Jocelyn got sick, and then I got sick, and this is not a book that is like, you can't read this when your brain's not working. Like, that's not the thing. But I am hoping, I guess, onto what am I going to read next. In addition to finishing those things, I would like to pick this up again. that would be a thing, especially having read that last story in the short story collection. It was reminding me about the last section I read was learning about sugar and the sugar industry and what that did to Caribbean islands and Brazil and everything like that. So I would like to continue this. I'm continuing Wheel of Time and all that, and like a lot of things right now is like I'm really enjoying making this baby blanket, which I'll show you right here. This is a blanket I started. It's like a mandala one, so it's the first time I've made a blanket like this where I start in the center and work all the way out. Like it's like a doily, which I've made several doilies in my life, but I've never made like a blanket doily. So this has been fun. I'm making this baby blanket, and so that's how I've been getting through a lot of Wheel of Time. So maybe after I finish Tower of Midnight, I go right into Memory of Light, right? And I finish it off, and I'm like, yes, I am a successful individual. That is not a measure of success, but internally I will feel great. Or I haven't decided if I'll try the audiobook of this or not, but I have access to it. I have Red Rising. Now maybe I won't try the audio of this and I'll just read this because I don't know what I'm going to read with my eyes after Girl, Woman, Other. I have not committed to anything. I know I need to read this, and I need to read Empire of Silence, and then I have Even Though I Knew the End. Those are like kind of, I think, still the tentative like obligation reads that I want to make sure I'm getting to. But this one for sure has like a live show at the end of the month, and I remember when I first read it, it didn't take a lot of my brain, and I currently don't have a lot of my brain, so that might be good. But there's also a lot of talk about T. Kingfisher in my Discord right now, and part of me is just like, this is the time, drop everything, pick up Paladin's Grace, or pick up The Clockwork Boys, just pick up a T. Kingfisher. A lot of people recommended her in my escape video, just do it, Angela, just drop everything. So that might happen. I don't know if it will, because reading is not like a number one priority at the moment, just because I'm trying to do anything that makes me feel okay. Like anything. And like working on this blanket is something because like it's just a really nice repetitive experience, and that's usually very calming to me. I've also been playing more Horizon Zero Dawn, and I've decided, so there are these hunting grounds, and I've gotten really good at some of them, but one of them has a Thunderjaw, and I'm still really scared of Thunderjaws, and I know I just have to get over it. But I decided, like, because I was talking to my friend who played the DLC, because my goal was to finish the side quest involved with the hunting grounds so I can get the really cool weapons or something. And he's like, well, you're about to do the DLC and there are better weapons up there, so you're about to like try to get all these and you're about to get better weapons. And I'm like, oh, well, my completionist brain hates this enough, or like it's because it's also timed. They're timed. I don't mind doing a difficult task, but like the timed aspect is not my favorite. It's not my favorite part of any sort of activity. Timed things stress me out. So instead, I decided to start the DLC. So I'm really excited. I have a whole bunch of quests to unlock and new storylines to explore. So yeah, I'm excited to do that. So that's the thing that's taking up some of my time. We've been watching more Abbott Elementary. We've been watching His Dark Materials, which I will say, I really like it as an adaptation because I think it's very faithful. But I think in some ways, except for Will and Lyra, which I really like their acting and their chemistry, but I think something the books do really well for me. I mean, it's been years since I've read them, like 4 or 5 years since I reread them last, but I think the character interaction on screen is not given as much screen time as it is on the page, like even with like Pan and stuff like that. And so I think the stuff that I love about the series is not translating to the screen as well as I hoped, even though it's really cool seeing all the cool stuff. And I'm really excited to see some creatures that come up in the 3rd book, because I've always wanted to know what they look like. You can hear my cat in the background. Ryan is not home tonight, so this is what happens whenever he's not home. Yes, Puta, do you want to see the people? I'm sure they would love to see you. Oh, gosh. Everyone, this is Puta. If you haven't met him before, if you have, he's still fluffy. Still a big lump of fuzz. Useless when in a crisis. Absolutely. Tragically useless. But that's what I've been doing. Yeah, that's where I'm at. So we're going to just try to get through February in one piece. It's always been my favorite, least favorite month. Yeah, always. I've always hated it with a passion. Like, there's the normal hatred. I feel like no one loves February. That's not a hot take. But it's always been extra bad. It's always been extra bad. If it's going to go wrong, it will go wrong in February. Right, Putao? Yeah. So, I'm going to go. I have another video to film and things like that, but here is the koala cat as he attacks me. Oh, and my mom got a Maine Coon kitten. If you're in my Patreon, I've been sharing pictures of him, like, all the time. But this boy, I haven't met him yet, but I need to. He is already, like, 15 pounds, and he's 6 months old. He's so big. Oh, I'm very excited to meet him. Anyways, That's it for this one. If you want to leave an emoji, I don't know, Pooja, what emoji should I leave? Yeah, don't lick me. I'll leave a cat emoji because we had an interruption. And otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.